Hello everyone, this is the T-Maxx 3.3 listing you're looking at. Decided to make a video just so you guys could buy with more confidence, and I'm going to go through everything pretty detailed here. The point of this video is to help you guys bid and buy with confidence. Seeing how there's so many parts here to cover, I figured I'd just shoot a video and make it easier for you guys. So this is the first truck included. This is a T-Maxx 4909 model. It has reverse. The body on this one's in pretty good shape. It's almost like new. Once you take it off, this one has the Integy higher rate blue springs on it. These are the standard Traxxas shocks that have a one-hole orifice switched out, so they're much. The dampening is turned up a lot more. They have 50 weight shock oil in them. That is from this right here. There's some extra included of that. So this truck is pretty stiff in the suspension. It won't bottom out easily at all. This one has Traxxas anodized aluminum front bulkheads. It also has full RPM A-arms on every corner. As you can see, those A-arms are a lot stronger than the factory Traxxas ones. There's a bunch of factory Traxxas A-arms included here as spares, along with a couple plastic bulkheads. This truck here has a motor saver. It's actually a brand new motor saver high performance air filter on it, and included in here is some extra air filter elements for it. So you got spare parts for that. This truck has a brand new throttle servo. It also has a brand new carburetor boot for the slide action carburetor. It's very clean. The rear of the truck has the RPM true trac conversion, which are RPM A-arms, and it eliminates the rear toe links, which are commonly known to fail on these cars. So these rear A-arms are a lot stronger, and they do not come out of alignment with this conversion. Both trucks have this conversion, actually. This truck has Traxxas steel center drive shafts, and it also has a JR Racing high torque steering servo. I'm going to take a video of both of these trucks starting up and drive them around the yard here a little bit. So as you can see, this one has reverse. That's the reverse servo, steering, throttle, and this one also has like new rear Traxxas anodized aluminum bulkheads. This one has the wheelie bar on it because this truck pulls wheelies very easily and will ride wheelies for hundreds of feet. So this truck over here is the T-Maxx 4908 model. It's the model year, or I should say it's a model generation later than this one, the 4909 model. This one is extended 30 millimeters in length, and it's also a forward only conversion. Traxxas came out with this, it was forward only, so this body is a little more beat up than the green one on the other truck, but it's still in pretty good shape. This one has a high torque Habaco CS70 steering servo on it. As you can see there, that's a CS70. This truck also has a nicer shock package. These are the Traxxas big bore shock kit. They're an aluminum anodized body. So this is all aluminum besides being plastic on the other one. These are the standard Traxxas shocks with a higher dampening valving in them. And then these are aluminum body with titanium shafts. And to take it a step even further, I put the white Traxxas progressive rate springs on them. That means they're pretty soft driving over light terrain, but once the suspension starts to compress quite a bit, these coils that have a higher pitch here start to act to prevent it from bottoming out. And this truck has a brand new dual stage air filter from Traxxas. This was literally just put on the truck, and I'm going to start it once with it on. It hasn't been used for anything else, so both trucks have brand new air filters. Fuel tanks are both very clean. I cleaned them out with alcohol, made sure they were nice and clean. Both trucks do have fuel filters for preventative measures there that'll prevent any dirt from flowing through the lines into your engine. And like I said, both trucks have Traxxas aluminum anodized bulkheads. As you can see, this one has them in the rear as well. This truck right now has brand new Big Joe wheels on it. They have been ran maybe once, and they're pretty much the best looking wheel I think that can go on these trucks. They're a lot bigger than these, and they're in great shape, and they're more of a show wheel. I haven't really ran the truck at all with them, just mainly because they're more for show. As you can see, this T-Maxx 4908 model has the RPM Racing true trac conversion in the rear too, as well as the front RPM A-arms. So both trucks, you know, like I said, have all RPM A-arms. This truck over here, the 4909 model with the reverse, has Lundsford titanium suspension pins in it. So this is what is in that truck. And this truck has stainless steel suspension pins in it, and they're strong as well. So this truck also has brand new center drive shafts installed. These aren't steel like the other one, but they're brand new Traxxas plastic drive shafts. These were a lot beefier than the ones that came in this truck, which is why I added the steel ones to the truck with reverse than this one. These don't really break that often, so they just replaced them because they're a little worn and they're brand new for you guys. One thing I forgot to mention is both trucks do have the Venom fail-safe units. So if your remote control here ever loses contact with either truck, it'll engage the brakes on the truck. Say your battery dies on this and you're full throttle, it won't leave the truck on full throttle. It'll engage the brake system so the truck will safely stop. So that's a very, very handy feature to have on these things. So as you can see here, just to demonstrate the fail-safe, I'm connected with the receiver. Pretend it's like I'm driving the truck right now, and if I turn off this, it engages the brakes. Turn it back on, the brakes come right off. So this truck works the same way. Just plugged it in. Say you're driving the truck, and then turn the receiver off, and the brakes engage. So now that you've seen both of the trucks, I wanted to do a quick tour of the rest of the components. This here is your Easy Start. One Easy Start unit will be included. This will start both trucks, as well as this remote control is actually running on a blue crystal. Both of these trucks have a blue crystal in them right now, so the controller, this one controller can control both trucks at the same time. I've only ran one individually at the same time. That's why I only need one controller. So if you want to run both the trucks with two people controlling them at the same time, you'll have to purchase one more controller, and I am including a bunch of more crystals in the auction, so controlling the frequency won't be an issue. So just to go through the rest of the parts, I've shown you the controller, the Easy Start. These are the spare A-arms, as I talked about before. These are all Traxxas. There's a spare lower RPM control arm here and two spare RPM upward control arms. And then there's a pull start, a bunch of bumpers, and I have a bunch of springs to include. These are all aftermarket springs. The red ones down there are all the Traxxas factory springs that came off these two trucks. These here are into G ones. They are all different stiffnesses, so if you want to custom tune the suspension better than what it is set up now, you can change the spring rate. I believe the greens are the stiffest, the red are the next stiff, and then these are softer down here. Depending on the color, you can change the stiffness, obviously. Extra spare knuckles with all good bearings in them. Like I said, there's the 50-weight shock oil. There is two silicone, brand new Traxxas silicone shock oil containers. Differential gear parts, a bunch of differential gear parts. This whole bag is filled with different differentials and whatnot of spare parts to replace. This here is a bag full of old shocks, and they can all be taken apart and parts used off of them if anything breaks on those. This here is the Superbrain 969 Pro charging unit. This is a very, very high-end charging unit for the trucks, and charges the batteries in the trucks as well as the Easy Start battery very, very easily, and I'll show you how to do that. I'll walk you through the process of what settings to use on this to charge them most efficiently. These are some older batteries that'll be included. They may not hold the charge anymore, but I'm including them because you can save the leads off of them if you want. If you buy new hump packs for the truck, you can cut these leads off and then reconnect them to the new batteries you buy. So I'm just including those as spares. A couple extra spare servos, tools, and whatnot, and wheels. These wheels are for any of these wheels fit either truck. They all have the 14mm splined hex on them for the wheels, and these are pretty much like new rubber here. The finish on the front of these has kind of faded over the years. So all four of those are in pretty good shape. They mount to the truck and look pretty good on there. These next four right there in the center, these are T-Maxx 2.5 wheels. These probably have the most wear out of any tire on them. These are a little worn out, but they make for good like drift tires, so none of them are cracked or anything. And the last set here, well, not the last set because there's more over there, but these 4 here are the paddle tires. Same tread as the one next to them. They're just brand new. These are really good off-road and sand and stuff, so there's a little bit of sand still left on them from when I ran the truck off-road in the sand. And these tires, like I said, pretty much like new, never been ran on the road, so they have tons of paddle left on them. So those, all 4 of those will be included. So I've got 2 copies of the T-Maxx 4909 instruction manual here to include. These are like new, as well as all the parts list and stuff and the documentation that comes from Traxxas. There will be at least 2 Traxxas DVDs included that are 2 copies of the Nitro tuning guidelines for these. It's like kind of a guideline of how to tune the carburetors, and a tutorial from Traxxas that's very helpful when you're getting into the hobby. There's a blue thread locker to be included here. This is pretty much almost full and like new. And in the first tote there's spare glow plugs, there's spare steel center drive shafts for this truck, the 4909 truck. There's an Traxxas OptiDrive unit, 3 spare one-way bearings for the Easy Start, a bunch of spare suspension pins there, stainless steel, another Venom check unit in there, a bunch of electronics. There's some spare servo mounting components right there, spare servo savers for the steering servo if you choose to do a different setup. Over here in this tote, in the middle tote, there's a bunch of Allen wrenches for the truck, pretty much everything you need to work on the truck. Right here is spare Phillips head stainless steel screws. You can use these on multiple places in the truck. I have a bunch of spare. There's a ton of spare screws included with this truck. I mean, there's 100 here, a couple hundred here, and then there's spare wheel nuts included there. Of course, the wrench for the wheel nuts. Spare screws everywhere there. Those are spare carrier end cap plugs. And then those are the spare crystals. You can use green or yellow if you choose to get another receiver for the truck. Right now there's blue in there. Like I said, there's blue. So you have a total of 3 different frequencies included with this truck. If you get a spare remote, you can run it on yellow, or you can run it on blue or green. In this tote too, there is some more spare one-way bearing in there. There's some spare brand new Traxxas bearings, a spare carburetor boot, brand new for either carburetor if you decide to replace that at some point, and spare Traxxas wrenches, like I said. That's an extra spare cap to the fuel filler bottle that's over there. Spare cap for that. So coming over to the other side, these are 6 Traxxas T-Maxx 3.3 4908 model wheels and tires. These are the original wheels and tires that came with this truck, and the 4 here are the originals that came with it. So the tires are in decent shape for those. The right side wheels are a little dirty because of the exhaust fumes that get on them, so they may be able to be brought back to life a little bit better with some cleaning agents. And then the left sides are definitely a lot more shiny since they don't get the exhaust on them. These are 2 spare wheels. This one is ready to be mounted. This one is pretty much almost like a like new spare replacement in case any of these 4 break. This is an additional spare, however, this one does have a crack on the 14mm hex. I don't know if that's able to be saved or whatnot. The tire's definitely still good, but that will be included with the auction as well. Brand new Traxxas spur gear for either truck. It's a 58 tooth. Brand new spare glow plug lead wire. There's also a brand new harness for the Easy Start that can be used for either truck if you decide to use it. And there's also an additional spare glow plug lead in there, so you got 2 spares. Lundsford titanium suspension pins, there's a couple left over for that. And there's a spare bearing for the transmission where the 2-speed gear mounts on it. It's a spare one-way bearing for that, brand new. There's an older Traxxas dual stage air filter there, but also includes brand new foam, spare foam, sealed in package for this truck here. So you got 2 sets of brand new foam for that air filter. Also included is these center drive shafts for the 4908 model. 2 of them are used and are a little stretched out. One of them is brand new there at the bottom. That's a perfectly good replacement. The other 2 may be able to be saved, but as you can see, there's some spare green fuel line included over here. And then This is a brand new 17mm Traxxas conversion. If you want to run the brand new Revo 3.3 style or T-Maxx 3.3 style wheels that have 17mm hex rims, this is the conversion you need to add them to either truck. And with that, I'm also including a brand new wrench to tighten those wheels on. So those will be included in the auction. Here's a fuel filler bottle. That'll be included. I clean that up on the inside with alcohol as well. And then this is a spare SportMax body that can be used on the T-Maxx 4909 model, the shorter wheelbase. This one is probably the most beat up out of them all. As you can see, there's a crack right there, and there's some cracks in other places too. Like, that's not the cleanest, but and overall it's in decent shape. Different look to it too. So that'll be included as well. Inside the box here is not a brand new motor, but you're also going to get brand new tuning DVD, brand new 3.3 stickers, instruction manual for all the Traxxas engines, actually 2 instruction manuals, a bunch of replacement part mailing, service forms, support guide, and then in this box there is brand new, actually a brand new 3.3 air filter. So if you decide to change this one out for that one, but that is the one on the truck is a higher performance one. It flows a lot better. But this was the standard 3.3 air filter that came with that T-Maxx 3.3, but I put the Motor Saver high flow air filter on there for better performance, and it also filters a lot better too. So in here is the brand new filter and a different kind of mounting. If you had like a Fortec or something, you could use this kind of mounting that doesn't have the 45-degree angle. It's a straight connector for the air filter. These 2 brand new Traxxas air filter oil bottles here. Those will be inside of this T-Maxx 3.3 box. And then that's everything that's inside there. So I'll put that back in there. So lastly, in this tote here, this is the last one I haven't shown you. Let's pull this aside and go through because there's a lot of parts in this one. There's a spare X-frame brace there that goes in between the bulkheads, between the rear bumper there. Spare one of those. Spare shock clip spacers if you want to stiffen the springs up and raise the preload on the shocks. Different thicknesses for that. Spare transmission gears. Those are shock components. Those are different shock valving. You can change to a 3-hole or a 2-hole setup. Like I said, that truck has a 1-hole setup, and this one has the standard big bore shocks on the inside. I believe that's all aluminum, along with a titanium shaft I mentioned before. So those are very, very nice shocks on that truck. Different screws of all sorts. These are different end links for the steering components. Different. These are the standard center plastic drive shafts that came with the T-Maxx 4909 model. Probably those are spares, but they're definitely a lot weaker than what's on the truck right now. So you'll probably not need to use those, but they're good to have as spares. There's more bolts there, tons of bolts everywhere. More transmission gears here. And this is a spare steel reverse gear for the truck over there. Along down here you have a lot of different bits and whatnot. I'm including a brand new bag of screws. Tons and tons of screws are going to be included with this truck. And this looks like a 54-tooth spur gear. That looks pretty much brand new as well. There's a couple teeth that are shaved down just a tiny bit on the edge of it, but this is definitely still functional as a gear. So that's another spare spur gear. This is 2 spare spur gears, but brand new one in the bag there. And yeah, now I'm going to show you how to use the Super Brain charger to charge both of the trucks and the Easy Start battery. Okay, so this is the battery that's included with the Easy Start. It's a brand new Tower Hobbies 200 milliamp hour nickel metal hydride battery. And I'm going to show you how to use that on the charger. The only leads you need for that one is once the charger's plugged in. You can charge on either the A or the B port, and basically the standard connector is the standard 7.2 volt battery, so you can plug it into the A port. I usually charge everything through the A port, but these are over here are the leads to charge the 2 trucks. Basically they're just conversion harnesses I built. This is a standard 7.2 volt battery connector. I just plug that into there from the A port, and then that connector on the end, that red connector, is the connector that is on the T-Maxx there. So you just plug that directly in and you can charge that. In order to turn this truck on, you just connect those two leads together right there, red to red. There is no switch on this one. There is a functioning switch on the other truck right there, as you can see. So that's how you charge that truck. And then to charge the T-Maxx 4908 model, the larger truck, you just add one more harness on. You plug this red connector into the end of here, and then this is the standard Traxxas harness here. The plastic casing is broken, but the pins on the inside are still perfectly fine, and this charges the truck with no issues. Okay, so here's a separate tutorial on how to use the SuperBrain 969 charger. It's a very high-end charger. I think I paid over $100 for it back in the day. It still works just like new. So once you plug the power supply in, this thing will turn on. And I can zoom in on the screen there when we get going, but here's your 7.2 volt battery for the easy start, and you just take your A lead cord or your B. Basically you can select between A and B. As you can see now we're on A, but if you want to charge the B side, you just press A to B select and it'll switch over to the B side. But like I said, I usually use A, so I'll switch back to A. As you can see, A up there, it's sensing 0 volts are coming in. So what I'll do is I will plug in the battery here, and it instantly starts reading the voltage of the easy start here. And what you can do with this charger is go through display options. So you don't really need to use AB too much if you just charge through the A port. You go through display selections, you can go to your amperage. That's how much amperage you're going to charge the battery with. With a 2000 milliwatt amp battery, you can charge it between, I would say, 2 to 4 amps. So I usually do like 3.5. So you can bump it up with these two arrows. You can go to 3.5 amps if you want. The higher amperage, the faster it'll charge, obviously, but you don't want to overload it. I definitely recommend that you guys read through this booklet here. It tells you how to set up all the settings when you get it. This is the instruction manual with the charger, but this is basically just a quick overview of it, of what settings I use for these unique batteries. So 3.5 amps, and you press it again. It's a 6-cell battery. There's 6 cells in this battery, so 6 cells there. 30 millivolts. This is basically a setting that's saying how many millivolts per cell you're going to use. So the booklet says based on how many cells you have, just multiply that number by 5. So I have 6 cells, so I'm going to select 30 MV. And then that's your milliamp hours. So when this is charging, it should get to 2000 when it's done charging. And then min, you don't really need to know that because that's really information you use in your charging. But so now it's all set up and it's ready to go. So you just press start and stop. And the fan will kick on when you press start, and it's going to begin charging the battery. And you can look at different screens when it's charging. You can push the display select. That's how many amps are going in the battery right now. So this will automatically beep and shut off when the battery is fully charged. And that's a quick tutorial on how to charge the Easy Start battery. So to charge the T-Maxx hump pack in the T-Maxx 4909 model with the reverse, you have the red lead sticking off here. You take your adapter I talked about before, and then you plug it into the battery, which is the lead coming out of the battery box back here. You plug that in, male to female, and then you plug this lead into the charger over here, port A. You will see this will come up with the screen again, just like before. And the settings I'm going to choose for this are, I'm going to lower this down. I usually charge these at about 2 amps. And then bump it up, it's a 5-cell battery. You want to go with 5. And 25 MV, and then you're good to go. So you just basically come back to this screen here and press start, and this will begin charging that battery. Of course it'll beep when it's done, and then now I'll show you how to charge the last truck. So to charge the last truck, you leave this lead still plugged in from the previous truck, and then you have this additional adapter here. So you're going to take that, plug the red into red here, just like that, and then you take this and you plug it into the charging port on the truck itself. So this is a little rubber shield. You pull that up out of the way and make sure these two pins on the inside of there are facing towards the front of the truck. That's the orientation you use. Once you plug that down in there, it's secure. And as you can see, the voltage appears on the screen. You can use the same settings as the last truck, same with this one. So you're going to go through the screen, charge it at 2 amps, it's a 5-cell, 25 MV, and then you're good to go. And then you just hit start, and you're good to go. And this will beep when it's done, like all the batteries. And then that's the end of the tutorial for how to charge the trucks. So thank you guys for watching this video. I hope this helps reassure you that you can bid with confidence and buy this auction with confidence. Because they say a picture's worth 1,000 words, but I believe a video's worth 1,000,000 more. So thank you guys for watching, and good luck bidding.